room here right now with the first victory going over them in this best of 3.
You know what I think it is? I think it's the music over there from our amazing production that just hyped up Area 77, man. I mean, how can you not be hyped with that track dropping down? But you are going to go ahead and see Area 77 now have an advantage. They will be first pick in the draft. A couple of bands are on the table. The Navarra will be taken out alongside the Faramis, which is a little interesting over there from the side of Area 77.
Yeah, very interesting. The Fremis was banned out the last draft as well. Very interesting here to see that the BTK takes Barats off the table. I mean, obviously, I guess they see the strength in it, don't want it picked up by Area 77, but I'm almost at the point that I would like to give Zane, like, almost to the point that, like, I would like Zane to have all the tools he can, as much as possible, you know, when it comes to some of these picks. But man, I mean, man, I just can't get over that last game. I just, especially when it came to the Gord, how well the Gord played into it. To not, I was very worried about how well they were going to be able to kind of close the distance on him. But from the get-go, I want to say, I believe Mark Udy just had playing a great game.
Yeah, it was very hard. I noticed teams that actually have a good chance against Mobazane is when they run a lot of CC. Especially like when we've seen him go up against Game Gladiators in the round robin for the top 16. That's what they did, right? They just stacked up a lot of CC up against this Fredrin, and he tried to full send for these objectives, for these invasions, and they were able to pick him off with ease. And I think that's something that Area 77 is kind of leaning into with their draft so far. Speaking of drafts, though, they are going to go ahead and take out that Fredrin. Barats was taken off for the side of BTK. Alpha's still on the table. I don't know. I'm not sure if Zane will pick that up again. I don't really think Alpha was the problem, though. I think it was just the over-aggression. I think a couple of mistakes in the beginning that were completely avoidable stacked up to where they couldn't turn it back around.
Yeah, and pick up again. They're going to go ahead to, well, actually, this time the Vexana is going to be on the side of Area 77. So kind of a switch, a mirror of what we saw last game, where BTK very quickly picked up the Vexana for Nicolette. And here we're going to see Mark Cutie pick up the Vexana.
Yeah, the Vexana will be picked up on the opposite side of the table. Basic is going to pick up that Claude, is going to have that BMI. We'll have that Blaze the Wet. Claude has been pretty much picked up every single game today. Just showing you how strong of a marksman he is. Now, a couple of things that are still on the table. The Mathilda yet to be picked up. The Ruby has been slotted in majority of these matches. It's still available if BTK does want to grab that up. The Exborg, something that we usually see Milo actually run on and profit well. Maybe he slots that now. Honestly, his Export performance was still good with even the major deficit that they had, but not going to waste any time. They're going to pick up something that we don't really see this early, and that is going to be the Minotaur.
Yeah, and very interesting, yeah, because he's been banned out, I want to say, as we move into like kind of the second drafting phase. So they're going to go ahead and prioritize that, get him some CC to hopefully kind of protect during these objective fights, make sure that Mobazane can move around, that he can get into range for these retributions without getting bursted down.
Now, I'm wondering where this is going to go. Boxia, okay, I was going to say Boxia is on the table. They're just trying to limit the junglers that Mobazane is going to pull out. But, I mean, there's still some additional junglers on the table. You can still use the Martis. You can still, well, the Fredrin's gone, so you can't use that. You can still use the Alpha if he wants to. You can still use, I've seen him run the Bakito before. So I don't think he's really too worried about it. But something to be worried about is going to be that CC, right? CC has been such a strong XP laner, especially on the international scene. Very hard to keep up with, and usually scales better than majority of the XP laners slotted against her. But Mobazane, he's pulling out another tank alongside the Minotaur. We'll go in for the Akai.
Yeah, very interesting here. We have a lot of front line for the side of BTK, and I want to say a mid to late game marksman. So we're still, I think this is kind of exactly swapped from the last game, where at this point in the game, once we were coming up in the second banning phase, I was looking for Area 77 to pick up something early, some type of damage for that early game. And here, that's exactly what we need from BTK's side to kind of even out this draft.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder where this is going to go, though, right? I mean, the Mathilda is still on the table. It could be picked up possibly from Area 77 if they still want it. It hasn't been banned out, and I wonder why a lot of teams haven't been picking it, because I haven't really seen a major nerf to the Mathilda. It's been strong in the international scene, but may not be the same for NA. Looking at BTK though, I'm worried about the Akai synergy with a Minotaur, because a Minotaur's job is to get them to no inferior, knock everybody up, but the Akai's job is to push everybody away. So I kind of feel like I'm not really sure how that's going to work together as a composition. Honestly, this would have been a good opportunity to pick up a Martis, but instead, since they have the Boxia, we're gonna have to see how that plays into it. It may be hard for the Boxia though to rush into a Minotaur and an Akai on top of that to be able to get these neutral objectives, which may be a start for BTK to take control of the early game.
Yeah, very interesting. I want to say Mathilda, especially on international scene, has a pretty low pick rate as well. Only about 3 games total combined with PH and Indo. So apparently they know something that I'm just not catching with the Mathilda pick. I thought it was fairly strong, but it might be the certain type of comps that you want to go for. She really does shine for a lot of those, I want to say, stationary heroes that need the added mobility. People like Mabrats, Ixia shines with that as well. So maybe it's just there's certain picks that she really shines with that we're just not seeing in some of these compositions. A big pickup for the side of BTK as we take up the Valentina, which for me is interesting. You don't really have a lot of ultimates besides the Eternal Guardian from the side of Area 77 that you're going to really want to, that I really see as a target.
Now, I mean, it works really well against the Boxia, though, because it's the Terrify, especially with Boxia being up close and personal. The CC as well. It's kind of like that anti-invade comp. But I don't really know how it's going to kind of transition. And the Bruno gets picked up by ISO, though. He's going to have a lot of crits, especially when he picks up that Berserker's Fury. But against the heavy CC composition like this, we're going to have to see, right? I mean, this is a really dive-eccentric composition from the Bloodthirsty Kings right now, especially with Mobazane running that Akai. I mean, this should be, for the most part, some easy neutral objectives when it comes to these turtles, when it comes to these lures, and also for Zane to be able to get his orange and purple, but possibly be able to invade to the side of Area 77 and take their buffs nice and early. Maybe their game plan, but hey, Diggy's been slotted in. Do you feel like the Diggy may have a problem here, though? Because there's a lot of CC that could overwhelm that time journey.
There's a lot of CC, but there's not a lot of burst on their side. If we're looking for an XP laner that has burst, I mean, Paquito maybe can go in there. He fits that role. He can be able to take Diggy out very quickly and kind of negate a lot of his abilities when it comes to some of these objective fights. I mean, the amount of CC, yeah. So, I mean, a big answer there from BTK going with the Paquito. Yeah, so good, I want to say good lineup for the side of BTK, especially Paquito. He's going to fill that role for that early game damage, especially once he gets that level 4. He's basically a truck coming at you.
Now, I would favor BTK's draft here, and the reason being is because there's more engage here. Like, I mean, you're putting a lot over there to the Boxia, being able to rush in and initiate these fights. I mean, maybe the CC can initiate, but outside of them two, like, Vexana's going to be in the back. Diggy, definitely don't want him to be super up front, or he's going to get picked off super early. The Bruno has to play close, but against all that CC, it could be a possible problem, and he's not going to be as mobile if you rock something like that Purify. Now, we've seen the Paquito, we've seen Chicken run it really well, and now we get to see Milo pick up this Paquito in the XP lane. He is going to be going up against a highly mobile hero, though, which will be the CC. Can he keep up against the mobility?
Ooh, boys, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to game 2, Area 77 versus Bloodthirsty Kings. You never thought you'd see it where BTK is behind by 1, but they need to win here if they hope to take this to a game 3.
That's right, and possibly maybe our first game 3 of the day in our final series. Area 77 taking the world by surprise with a fancy fashion as they were able to shut down the Bloodthirsty Kings in the first game. A one-sided story, shutting down Mobazane, racking them up to above 5 kills, and being able to take majority of the objectives with little to no contest and not losing a single turret on top of that. Will it be the same story for game number 2, or will BTK be able to disrupt their momentum and shut them down in the early game?
Really interesting here. Mark Cutie's getting shut out from his farm here. Nicolette doing a great job of kind of zoning him away from a lot of these minions.
Well, see, that's the good thing about the Valentina, too, is the Valentina can be way more aggressive than the Vexana, especially in the early phase, because the Vexana can play a lot closer. You are going to go ahead and see both teams getting ready for their first objectives, though. Zane, he doesn't go for the invade, though. I was wondering if he was going to try an invade onto the side of Area 77. It did not work the first time around for game number 1, and it looks like he's learned his lesson. But when the first turtle comes onto the board, I think BTK should be able to claim this. They have the heavy spin. They should be able to zone out Area 77 from taking it.
Oh, Marcutie dangerously low right before this first turtle set up here. Bloodthirsty Kings in a great positioning, waiting for the turtle to come up. You can see Mobazane in the pixel bush right now, waiting. The rest of BTK at mid gonna go ahead and join him shortly.
Yeah, but I mean, JQT not in position, and look at Marcutie. Both of them decided not to go in for it, which will be a free turtle to the side of BTK. And I mean, this is the way the draft kind of plays out, right? But speaking of draft, bot side engagement.
Yeah, very unfortunate for the side of Area 77. They look for a gank at bottom, but I mean, a great positioning there by Mielo, who's able to get away from that. And now you have Area 77, who traded it for a kill, but come out empty-handed, and a turtle going over to BTK.
Yeah, and you got to be careful. Now they have the advantage, which is totally different from game number 1, and they're able to kind of close out with early finishes when you allow these things to happen, and you have to keep an eye on them. BTK, though, with that first turtle, will have an XP boost ahead of Area 77, and now there goes the invasion. Look at Koro given the vision, now trying to possibly contest on the purple buff.
Yeah, Blazing Duet at mid to clear up the minions. That's going to keep Marcutie busy, while Tarzan getting jumped on by 3 members of BTK. Is he going to be able to get out of it? He is doomed and gets taken down by Mobazane. Heavy spin out there, JQT. Ooh, almost got caught and pinned against the wall. They're still giving chase. Cold and the rest of BTK in a bad way here are going to be able to make their way to their side of the jungle.
And ISO may have a hard situation. Basic stripping off half of the gold plating from the turret on the top side, which will give him an advantage in the gold lane. We know he's running that Claude. He needs that Demon Hunter sword, that golden staff, to really be able to soak into Boxia from Tarzan Cutie, and also possibly Yureshi Cutie over there. ISO and needs to kind of be careful. It's not as mobile. He did go in for that Purify to stop a little bit of the CC provided from BTK, but I don't know if it will be enough. But so far, you are looking at a great start for the Bloodthirsty Kings, trying to take this to a game 3, controlling the early game.
Yeah, and I want to say whatever cobwebs were in BTK in that first game, they seem to have shaken it off here. The rotations here, the synergy from them is a lot tighter on this game when it comes to rotating around the map, and I'm glad to see it. You see, Mielo comes in, locking on the JQT, who's going to use that flicker to get away. Even latched on a little bit of a reverse time onto Mielo for the time being, but this is going to go ahead, open up. Oh, he still got the kill from the bottom lane there, still able to find the angle and find the kill on the Diggy, and this is going to open up the next turtle for Mobazane.
Yeah, 2 turtles in their favor now, and also something funny to point out, 3 quantum charges for BTK and 2 concussive blasts. This kind of tells you a couple of things, right? They're going to be highly mobile, and they're going to be highly tanky for the ones who aren't. And that means they're going to be taking these fights up close and personal and at a fast pace. And that is what we were seeing so far, as they're able to take both of these turtles with little to no contest, and also able to take 2 kills on top of that. Area 77 needing to be careful as they are trying to form that snowball.
Ooh, JQT comes in here with the time journey, but ooh, just narrowly escapes there. I was about to say, ISO actually able to get away on his own. Oh, but get popped up, and a Blazing Duet for his troubles. Nicolette picking up the kill there at the top lane.
And a kill on the bot side, as well as Tarzan Cutie will find Milo. That is going to be a 1-for-1 trade. First kill for Area 77, but BTK still in control of today's match, at least for the early game. Area 77 slightly behind, now down by over 2,000 gold. Looking at some of the core items, with the crossbow has been picked up over there from Basic. He is going to be working toward that corrosion site. Does have the Demon Hunter sword. You are going to see on the opposite side of the table for the gold lane, ISO behind him by 1,000 gold, picking up the Hawes Claw, still working toward a possible Legion sword, and an additional item like a Berserker's Fury may be on the ways. He needs that crit to be able to soak into Mobazane, to be able to soak into that Minotaur and burst down the Bloodthirsty Kings.
Oh, a little bit of a little 1v1 here between Mobazane and Tarzan. Here comes the rest of Area 77.
Oh!
Mobazane able to snatch away that orange buff and leaves like a thief in the night.
And the crazy thing is that was a 1v3. It's just a battle of a Retribution and Mobazane. Quicker to the punch, able to get it and walk away with no penalty, which will delay the farm over there from Tarzan Cutie even more than it's been already, with Zane taking all of these turtles. Speaking of turtles, the third one will spawn in, and it looks like they may be able to take yet another objective uncontested by Area 77.
Yeah, basically just ignoring Yureshi down here, trying to put the damage onto the tower. Gets back with the BMI to go ahead and support Zane, but Yellow gets caught here. Finishing touches by J Cutie up at the top lane. So they're at least able to answer back 2-3 in favor of BTK.
Yeah, but the trade will still work in Bloodthirsty King's favor as they take a turtle and they take the most valued turret for the early game, the tier 1 in the mid lane, which will open up the map for invading. And BTK will now have a massive advantage, if it wasn't enough already, up against Area 77, putting them in an awkward situation as BTK now able to overextend with comfort. Now going to take the tier 1 on the bot side as well, up by 3 turrets to 1 against Area 77.
Yeah, a much tighter game by BTK this time. They have a great, I want to say, answers right now. Their rotations are on top. Zane hasn't gotten caught once just yet, and now you can start seeing they're starting to force their way into the enemy jungle right now. Ooh, we do have a big upset here. Mark Cutie does find a kill onto Cobra. Blazing Duet to the back line. Tarzan gonna have to back up. A big heavy spin by Mobazane. I don't know if I think he still got that orange buff as well. Nope. It looks like Mark Cutie actually was able to get it. Oh, we're still fighting here. A little bit of problems with Yureshi coming in. Yo-yos all over the place. Is not going to be able to find the kill onto Yellow.
We'll be able to go back to safety. A very close call, though. Zane doing good on invading the jungle for Area 77, not trying to allow Tarzan to catch up. I mean, he's down 2 levels up against Mobazane right now, and it's steady climbing even higher as you are seeing him still contesting. He's a bully right now on the Sakai. He's only getting beefier. He's running that concussive blast, and they're ahead by almost 3,000 gold, which means the damage items needed from Area 77 to shut him down is just not there. We're not even really seeing a massive presence over there from J Cutie on this Diggy, who we were kind of wondering about, especially as Diggy took a nerf with the damage output. But with that time journey, it's just very hard to negate all of the CC when there's a heavy CC composition. I mean, the time journey is only active for so long, and all they have to do is bait it out with one of their ultimates to stop it. And that puts a lot of pressure on Tarzan Cutie all by himself to be the front line and also the tank of this game. And this is where you're starting to see BTK make the most out of the situation.
Well, yeah, and we were talking about it before, too. We saw in some of the engagements, too, Mielo doing a great job looking for Jay on that Diggy, searching for him, hunting him, and being able to take him down before they actually even start some of these objectives. Right now, they're kind of fishing around, seeing what they can catch in the river here. If Area 77 is going to go ahead and make the first mistake, try to engage here, but they definitely want a fight here.
You are still seeing some items to be picked up, though. Mark Cutie just got that Lightning Truncheon, and we'll be able to echo some damage to the full team of BTK when he decides to engage with this Vexana, but it's not going to be the right time. BTK, they have a proper foothold for this match. Massive damage and aggro pulled for this turtle. A contest from Area 77 on the way.
Yeah, Basic walked into a bush full of Diggy bombs and almost got chunked down to about 10% left onto this turtle. Mobazane in a position. Tarzan, they're going to fight it over. Can they fight it? Tarzan able to find this next lord as Mobazane going to disengage with the heavy spin. Yureshi looking for the flank, not able to capitalize on it.
Yeah, this is the things that Area 77 has to do to find a way to turn this around. It's a great start, but can they follow through and trade for some of these turrets?
Yeah, a great play there by Area 77.
Whoa!
You saw the time. Ooh, Mielo finds a kill onto Yureshi. We were talking about that Paquito damage. He just absolutely obliterated Yureshi in the mid lane. As I was saying before, like when it came to this, a great time journey by Jay there to kind of thwart any of the CC from Bloodthirsty Kings as the retribution came up. So good call by them.
Yeah, ISO able to claim a turret, though, on the bot side, slowly inching their way up the map. They do have the Lord on the top side as well, which means they're able to turn this around in their favor. Since they took the turret in the mid lane as well, they have now gained control.
Yeah, the gold still, I want to say, heavily in favor of Bloodthirsty Kings. We talked about this before. I mean, at any point in the game, behind or in front, BTK is still a very dangerous team that you need to watch out for. And they still have a sizable gold lead over Area 77 here. So they're Area 77 not out of the woods here.
Yeah, they are going to try and bank in on Milo, finding a way to the back line with that Paquito who got that buff, and also Basic as he builds his core items to be that late-game damage dealer, that staple marksman pickup with that Claude that they're relying on. And the later this goes, that's where he's going to start to shine. But Area 77, they're not going to try and give him that opportunity.
Whoa, Mielo got caught with the reverse time. Mobazane comes in with a heavy spin. Tarzan still finds the kill, but deep in enemy territory. Is he going to be able to get away? Nicolette spraying some damage, but it's not going to be enough. Coldworld walking himself in from the flank, and another tower taken by ISO in Area 77.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to close it out, and now going to work on chipping down this inhibitor, but they need to be careful on not overstaying their welcome. The Bloodthirsty Kings is known to make the most out of these situations. Blade armor picked up from Mobazane, trying to negate some of those physical attacks coming out, especially over there from ISO. He does have that Berserker's Fury to provide that crit.
Ooh, Basic comes in. I want to say a very eager blazing duet onto the team of Area 77. It does back them off, but Mobazane comes in. Is he going to be able to get that retribution? He was not able to get it, and Tarzan basically paying Mobazane back again for that early game where he was taking his jungle. Mobazane actually in trouble. Heavy spin comes out, and he gets taken out by ISO, and the rest of the team falling back. Whole World has that reverse time locked onto him. He gets pushed back. ISO finds a tower into the back. Nicolette with that time journey to try to protect her team, bursted down, taken down by Mark Cutie. This could be the end. ISO still pushing into the tower. It's just Coldwell left. We have minions up at the top. Basic with the blazing duet, trying to clear out the minions, gets taken out by ISO. Here comes Mielo with the damage. He gets taken out by Mark Cutie. It's just Coldworld left, but they have no minions. Still going to try to force it at this mid tower. We have the timers up. Yoreshi coming in. Zane is back out. Is he going to have the heavy spin ready? The core goes down. This is going to be a sweep for Area 77 over the Bloodthirsty Kings.
Phone home! Phone home! Area 77, the extraterrestrials landing from a distant planet on top of the Bloodthirsty Kings with a 2-0 sweep.